Should I make a move right now? How to know and how to do it without losing any money. I'm Bobby Como, realtor here in Lafayette, Louisiana, Acadiana area, your realtor in the kitchen. So let me ask you something. Have you found yourself lately thinking, maybe we should move, but I just don't want to mess this up? Because that's something that I'm hearing from people every single day right now. And honestly, that feeling makes a lot of sense. People aren't confused right now. They are literally cautious. They just don't want to make the wrong move. They don't want to lose money, and they definitely don't want to look back and think, we should have waited. Or worse, we should have gone sooner. Let me simplify this for you because there is a lot of noise out there. The market today is not as crazy like it was, but it's also not bad. Homes are still selling every single day right here in Acadiana. What has changed is the people. Buyers are more thoughtful now. They are paying attention. They're asking, does this actually make sense for me? They're selective because there are more houses for sale to choose from. And they're definitely payment focused because strategy matters really now more than ever. And here's what I like to tell people. Real estate is a life decision first. So if your current home doesn't fit your life anymore, that matters. If you need more space, if you need less space, if you need a different location, a different lifestyle, if you have a lot of equity in your home, these are valid reasons to move, no matter what the market is doing. But I'm also going to say something that you really might not expect to hear from a realtor. Not everyone should move right now. If you're comfortable where you are, if you've got a great interest rate and nothing is really pushing you to make a change, or maybe you're just not ready financially or mentally, it might actually really make sense for you to stay where you are. And honestly, that's okay. Now, where I am seeing people get into trouble right now is how they approach the market. One of the ways that people approach the market that is wrong is overpricing, thinking we're just going to try this price out and see what happens. And then missing that first window of opportunity when the buyers are out in the market really paying attention to your house, because when it first comes on the market, that's when it's hot. Another thing is condition. Sellers skipping that suggested prep work, because buyers today, right now, they don't want projects. They don't want something that feels like a project when they walk in. They want something that feels super easy when they walk in. And then also waiting too long to adjust, because the longer that a home sits, the more buyers start to wonder, what's wrong with it? And then when you strip all of that down, there are really just 4 things that really matter right now. And that is price, condition, marketing, and negotiation. So let's talk about those 4. We're going to sit here for just a minute. Price. Price is what gets attention first. Before a buyer ever smells your candles or sees your cute front porch or notices your high ceilings, they're going to see that price. And buyers today are very payment conscious. They are comparing your home to everything else online before they ever even step foot inside. Online is your first showing. So if your price feels too high, many buyers will not even come take a look. So overpricing does not, and let me repeat this for the people way in the back, overpricing does not create more negotiating room in this market as often people think it does. In many cases, overpricing actually just causes the home to sit, and that sitting creates suspicion. So once a home sits too long, buyers start asking, what's wrong with it? Why hasn't it sold? And they're going to have to reduce it. And the first days on the market are your strongest. That's the strongest window to get your attention. You want to hit the market positioned to attract attention. You don't want to chase the market later with price reductions. Pricing is not just a number. Honestly, it's a strategy. So the market does not reward that wishful thinking. What it rewards is proper positioning. The right price brings people in the door, and the wrong price is going to just keep them scrolling. So it's better to be priced correctly from day one than it is to be forced to reduce your price later after your momentum is gone. There can be two homes that are almost identical on the market, but if one of them is priced just a little more in line with what buyers are seeing as value, that's the one that's going to get the showings, and that's the one that's going to get the offers. In fact, the higher priced house is the one that's going to help sell the other one. So some common mistakes that sellers can make around pricing is pricing based on what they need to make rather than what the market supports, or pricing based on old market conditions instead of what today's buyer's behavior is. Because honestly, guys, the market changes all the time, and a home is honestly only worth what someone is willing to pay for it. Let's talk about that second point now. That's condition. Condition is what creates confidence. A buyer may tolerate outdated. What they will not tolerate and what they do not want is to feel overwhelmed. So clutter, deferred maintenance, dirty, that'll all do it. In today's market, buyers are already stretched with rates, insurance note out there, the insurance, homeowners insurance kind of going crazy, the monthly payment, all of those things. So because of those things, they are totally less excited about a long repair list. A home does not have to be absolutely perfect, but what it does need to be is it needs to feel cared for. Buyers notice those deferred maintenance items really quickly. Little things speak loudly, like peeling paint, stained carpet, broken fixtures, dirty grout, clutter, last night's dinner, old odors, neglected landscaping, weeds in the garden, that kind of thing. Those little things really may seem small to the seller, to the person living there, because we're used to looking at them every day, right? But to the buyer, they create a feeling of, what else has not been taken care of here? What else is wrong? Good condition helps a buyer just emotionally relax. And when a buyer feels confident, they feel stronger. And condition also affects your photos. It affects the showings. It affects your inspection reaction. And it also affects that appraised value perception. Your home does not need to be perfect, but it does need to feel cared for. Buyers do not mind doing some updating later on, but what they do mind is feeling like they're inheriting someone else's problems. Condition tells buyers whether the home has been loved or if it's kind of been left behind. Clean and fresh and intentional, that really goes a long way. So a home with older finishes can totally still sell well if it's spotless and bright and maintained and presented with care. But a prettier and more updated home, that honestly can still struggle if it feels dirty and cluttered and neglected. So some common mistakes that sellers can make around this area, around condition, is looking past obvious issues, underestimating how strongly things like smell and clutter and deferred maintenance affect buyers' perception, underestimating how much money buyers will discount for those little simple things that they just could have taken care of for a small dollar amount up front. Buyers are going to end up asking 10 times that amount because the perception of it is their reality. Okay, let's move on to marketing. Marketing is what creates desire and reach. It is not enough to put a sign in the yard and hope that a person shows up. A home can be wonderful in person, but if it doesn't show well online, people are never going to come see it. And you only get that one first chance to make that first impression. And today, that first impression usually happens on a screen, your phone or your computer. And the goal is to make someone stop scrolling and say, wait a minute, tell me more about this one. So the exact same house can feel average with poor photos, and it can seem extremely powerful with an intentional marketing plan. And that's not magic, guys. That's honestly just presentation. So some common mistakes that sellers can make around this is assuming that MLS is enough or cell phone quality photos is enough. A weak presentation not listening to the listing agent's suggestions about the presentation, or believing that, my house is great, so it's just going to sell itself, no matter how it's marketed. That's not really true. So let's move on to that last one. That's negotiation. Negotiation is what protects your money. So getting an offer is one thing, but getting the right terms and making it all the way to the closing table, well, that's another. So a strong deal is not just about the price. It is about the terms, closing costs, inspection, request, timeline, appraisal issues, possession date, financial strength of the buyer. Sometimes the highest offer, honestly, is not the best offer. A clean, more solid offer can actually net a seller more in the end. And negotiation starts before the first offer even comes in, because that pricing, condition, and marketing all affect your negotiating power. The stronger your positioning, the stronger your leverage. So once you're under contract, negotiating continues all the way through that inspection, appraisal, and the repair process. The goal is not to win at every single point. The goal is to protect your bottom line while we're still keeping that deal together. In today's market, smart negotiation often means knowing where to hold firm and where to be flexible. That always makes me of that know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em. Anyway, the offer is really only the beginning of negotiation. The best deal is not always the highest number on page one. Strong negotiating is about protecting your net, your bottom line, not just creating a sales price and celebrating getting your offer at the offer price, at the sales price. Getting to the closing table well is just as important as getting under contract. So one seller may accept a higher offer with weaker financing, more concessions, and then another may choose a slightly lower offer with stronger terms. And guess who's going to end up with a much better position overall? Not the one who accepted the higher offer. So some common mistakes that sellers can make around that is focusing only on that list price, and then also getting emotional in the negotiation part. So thinking that the hard part is over once you accept that offer, it's not. It's all through the whole rest of it. We've got a long way to go. Getting to the closing table, that's the part where your realtor and the negotiation and all of that does all of the hard work, and that's the important part and where we shine. The important part is that all of these four things work together like legs of a stool. You've got price, that gets the attention. Condition builds confidence. Marketing creates desire, and negotiation protects the outcome. If just one of those is weak, it affects all the others. And if you may fall off your stool, but if they're all in line, they're going to come up together, and that's when your home is going to stand out, and you're going to stay on your stool, and everything's going to come out together well. So price gets people in the door, condition makes them feel good when they walk in, marketing gets the right eyes on your property, and negotiation is going to make sure the seller actually benefits in the end. So let's share the tale of two listings. We've literally seen two homes in the same area in the same market, one being priced right, showing beautifully, moving quickly, and another one that can miss the mark just a little. It'll sit, and then it gets price reduced, and then it ends up selling for less. Same market, different outcome. So you want to make sure you're listening to your agent. All right. Helping my clients get clarity is greater than timing, because clarity is going to beat timing every single time. Clarity is greater than timing every time. And instead of trying to figure out, is this the perfect time for me to sell? What I really want for my clients, what I want for you is clarity on what your home is worth right now, what your next move would look like, and what it would feel like and mean for your family if you were to make a move. What are your real numbers? Clarity creates confidence. And I'm going to leave you with this, because not everyone should make a move right now, but some of you or someone you know absolutely should. And I don't want you to miss on an opportunity just because you don't have the right information. So if you've been thinking about it, even just a little, I'm always happy to sit down with you, look at your situation, and help you to figure out what actually makes sense. No pressure, just clarity. Let me help you to get the real numbers on your home, get you your equity picture, and let's figure out what your next move would be. Thank you so much for your attention and listening through this presentation, and I would love to answer your questions. Again, it's Bobby with Keller Williams, and I can't wait to meet you. Have an awesome day.